GitHub is about more than just code. Today, let's focus on issues and projects. Welcome to this video on GitHub and DevOps. My name is Kevin Fiesel, and I'm the proprietor of Galaxy Services LLC, a consulting firm which specializes in work all across the data platform space, especially SQL Server. In the prior video, we forked and cloned a GitHub repository. In this video, we are going to talk about a couple product management systems available to us in GitHub, issues and projects. I think the easiest thing for us to do is simply go straight to the demo, so let's do that. We are going to take care of Exercise 2, Task 2 in this training on implementing DevOps practices. In the description section, we have quite a few tasks that we're going to accomplish. We'll create a GitHub project using the Kanban template. Then we'll create some draft issues, play around a bit with ownership, and tie issues to GitHub repositories. After that, we'll see how swim lanes work in GitHub projects, work a bit with issues themselves, create views of project-related issues, and even add a custom column to our issues. There's a lot to take care of, so let's get rolling. To do all of this, I'll start off in my GitHub repository that I forked in the prior video. Now, I don't have any other users I want to add to this repo, so we're going to work through all of this with a single user account, and that is my user account. Before we get too far into this, I'm going to want to make sure that my forked repository supports issues. To do that, let's go to the settings page. By the way, the settings menu option is something we didn't really see in the prior video. The reason for that is you only see the settings menu option if you are an administrator of a repository. I wasn't an admin of the upstream repository, so no settings for me there. But because this is my fork in my own account, I'm the owner of the repo and can move forward. Now that I've explained how the settings button got there, let's select it. From there, I'll scroll down to the features and tick the box for issues. By default, you cannot create issues on forked repositories, but we are going to want to have them enabled for the work we're doing today. In the event that you do want to add other people to collaborate on your repository, I'll show you how to do that. Scrolling back up to the top, I can choose collaborators from the access section of the left-hand menu. Now, because I have two-factor authentication set up on my account, I might need to answer a prompt on my phone. Two-factor authentication is something you can enable for your account, and some organizations may require you to use two-factor authentication. You won't necessarily get prompted every time, but if you haven't accessed an administrative page like this in a while, the prompt may show up. On the collaborators page, we can see that this is a public repository, so anybody in the world could view it. But there are no people other than me with the ability to commit code. If I select the Add People button, I could change that. Once you click the button, you'll get a modal dialog asking to search for a person. I could search by email address, GitHub handle, or name, so there are several ways to invite a person. But at the end of the day, I'm a loner Dottie, a rebel. So let's continue on. Now let's create a Kanban board. To do that, I will select the Projects menu option. Projects are not part of a repository. Rather, projects can include links to repositories. That way, you can have multiple GitHub repositories serving a single project. That's going to be pretty common in the business world, where you might have one repo for a database project, one for a web front end, one for an API server, one for PowerShell scripts necessary to deploy our resources, and so on. We might manage them all as part of one project. On this page, I currently have no links to projects. If I select the green Link a Project button, I have the option to link to an existing project or create a new one. I'd like to create a new project here. Doing so will take me to a page where I get to select the project template. Scrolling up and down this list, there are several available to you, but you can also build your own custom theme in the Start from Scratch menu. You could create a table, a board, a roadmap, customize it to your preferences. In my case, I'll keep things simple and select Kanban as the template. Once I do that, I will want to give the project a name. Let's call it DevOps Kanban and then select Create Project. This dumps us onto a project board and has linked our GitHub repo to this project as well. On this board, I can act as product manager and start creating tasks. To do that, I'll select the Add Item link at the bottom of the backlog section. You can see that it turns into a simple data entry box, so let's add in something meaningful and relevant, like say, get her done. Strike enter, and now you can take a coffee break, Mr. or Mrs. Product Manager. You deserve it after that stroke of insight. But wait, your muse is speaking to you. Your creative juices are flowing, or the coffee pot isn't done brewing yet and you need to kill a few more minutes. Whatever the case may be, let's add a few more items. Build the app. That's a good one. Oh, deploy the app. Yeah, you're on fire here. Mow my lawn. Well, you might just have taken advantage of your position as product manager just a little bit on that one, but I won't tell. Now we have several draft items. I can click and drag these around on the board, but they're not ready for that yet. Instead, let's select the ellipsis next to our first item and then choose Convert to Issue from the menu. This will turn our backlog item into a proper GitHub issue. From the list, I'll choose my forked repo. As a quick note, if you don't see your repo in this list, you probably didn't enable issues in the settings menu. Now that I've tied this item to an issue, we can see that the icon changes and we have some text at the top. I can also select the ellipsis here and open the issue in a new tab. Doing so brings me to the GitHub repo and to an issues screen. I'll close this tab for now and go back to the project board, as I'm feeling the need to drive progress. For each of the remaining backlog items, I can assign it to the DevOps repo as well. That way, we'll have 4 GitHub issues available to us. This will take just a moment to do, and then once it's done, I'll have everything ready to go. Now that these are in place, let's do some work. We found the intern over by the coffee machine and explained how mowing the PM's lawn is absolutely a critical part of the job, so let's fill out that item. I'll select the Open a New Tab option and bring up the issue in my repo. We can see that the GitHub project creates a shell, so let's fill in that shell. At the top, I created the issue, but there's really nothing in the issue itself. I can select the ellipsis and edit this, adding in whatever comments I need. I will add a helpful comment about how our intern will need to get the striping right, making sure to turn smoothly and flatten down every second pass so we get a beautiful looking cut. Update the comment and we have a perfect issue. On the right hand side, I can assign the issue to somebody, or a person could self-assign. If I select the gear icon, I can type in a user or a group name. GitHub does support groups, so I could have a dev group, a DBA group, a sysops group, and so on, without having to specify that I want to assign this specifically to Jimmy the intern in the dev group. GitHub will also make suggestions based on the contents of the issue and who you've assigned tasks to previously. I'll assign myself here, as I'm the only person associated with the repo. We can also assign to multiple people, so when I selected my account, we saw a checkmark appear, but the box didn't go away. I could add additional people. Down below assignees, we have labels. If I select the gear for that, we can see a set of default labels. These are the items that GitHub creates for you, and they cover a variety of themes. When users view the issues page, they can easily see or filter down on labels. I'll select the Good First Issue label because I think it's a good learning experience for Jimmy the intern. Just as with assignees, we can select multiple labels. The next item down is projects, and we can see that this issue is already part of the DevOps Kanban project, so I don't need to do anything else here. We can see its current status. It's on the backlog. The next item down is milestone. If we intend to have periodic releases, we might put this on the Q2 release plan or the June sprint or whatever. This will give interested parties an idea of when we plan to release the code or to fix the issue. The next item down is development, and that lets us tie the issue to a particular branch. If we select anything in here, it will let viewers know that we're working on the item and even give them a chance to see what progress looks like. This works well if you're using feature branching, that is, creating a new branch for each bug fix or feature request. Below development is notifications. If you are the author of the issue or an assignee on the issue, you will receive notifications automatically. If I select the Customize link, I have 3 options available. First, I can unsubscribe from this issue, so I won't see anything unless somebody explicitly tags me in a comment or reassigns me to the issue. Second, I can remain subscribed and receive notifications, such as new comments or a notification when somebody closes the issue. If I select the third option, I can narrow down the notifications I want to receive. I can choose to get a notification if somebody closes or reopens the issue. I'll also automatically switch to the subscribed state if someone explicitly tags me in a comment. Let's leave this alone for now and choose Cancel. Below notifications, I see the list of participants. It's a fairly barren list, admittedly, but in a more popular project, you'll often see several people in this section. Then we have some administrative options. I can lock a conversation if there's no value in leaving it open. This might be okay for a controversial issue, though I found there's rarely a reason to do this in most projects, especially in the business world. I can pin the issue, ensuring that it appears at the top of the issues page. I can transfer the issue to another repository. I can even delete the issue if, say, it was a spam message or a duplicate. Below my comment, we can see several activities that have shown up along the way. Every time somebody performs an action related to the issue, we can see it in the history stream. That way, you can see what has changed over time. Below the history stream, you can add a comment. The GitHub comment engine does support Markdown, so you can get fancy with it. I do recommend using the Preview tab to make sure that your beautifully formatted comment actually displays the way you imagine it will. You can also do things like add links, a task list, images, file attachments, and even reference other issues. There is a lot to try out in this comment section, and I recommend spending a bit of time to see what you have available to you. Below this, there are two buttons. The first is to leave a comment if you have anything in the box. The second is to close an issue. You'll see this if you are a contributor to the repository. If I select the drop-down list for the close issue option, I can see two selection options: close as completed and close as not planned. That way, you have a way of explaining why you're closing the issue. Let's now go back to the board. We can see my avatar next to the issue item, showing me as the primary assignee. Now that we've laid out exactly what to do with this issue, I'll move it to the ready state. I can continue sliding it along to, say, in progress. If I switch back to the issue, we can see that the history tracks these board changes, so we'll see the card moving around. Now, Jimmy the intern has finally finished mowing my lawn. It wasn't a great job, but it was adequate, so I'll let Jimmy close this issue with a comment stating that lawn mowing is complete. We can see that the Close Issue button became a Close with Comment button. I'm going to select that button now. That leaves my comment and marks the issue as complete. Returning back to the board again, we can see that GitHub automatically moved the closed issue to Done status. That way, I don't have to move it over myself. All right, one last thing that we're going to do is add a new custom field to issues. We are going to call it Complexity. To do so, let's first select the Team Items view. We can see a list of each of the items and their current status. If I scroll over to the right-hand side, I can see a plus icon next to End Date. Let's select that and then choose New Field. I'll call the field Complexity and then choose Single Select from the drop-down list as my field type. This will open up a new options list, and I'll want to add 4 of these. Very easy, easy, hard, very hard. We won't add medium here because, well, we don't want those devs to have an easy option and just set everything to medium like they would if we gave them that option. Now that all of these are in place, I'm going to select the Save button. Scrolling just a bit, we can see that complexity is now available on our issues. Let's set the complexity on the lawn mowing issue to easy because, look, it's so easy, even Jimmy the intern can do it. Switching back over to the issue, I'll refresh the page. We can see the project name on the right, and there's a status of Done and an indicator of +6 more. If I select that indicator link, I can see that the 6 more is actually referring to 6 additional fields: priority, size, and so on. Down at the bottom is complexity, where we have it at easy. And that is how projects and issues come to work together in GitHub. As you can see, there's a pretty good amount of stuff you can do within GitHub for product management. I will say that this is less sophisticated than what you'll get in Azure DevOps, much less dedicated project and team management tools like, say, Jira or Trello or Monday or the like. But look, if your team is on GitHub, projects can work well enough and issues are pretty solid. Our next video will take us through the basics of GitHub Actions. We'll have links and show notes in the description below, and until we see each other in the next video, take care.